Hello and welcome to Computer Active TV. My name is Tim Smith and today I'll be showing you how to change the memory inside your notebook. Now you might be wondering why you want to do this upgrade, and one of the best reasons for this is Windows Vista. Windows Vista uses a lot more system memory than previous versions of Windows, and it makes a real difference on system performance. This notebook here is an Intel dual core running at 1.8 GHz with a Radeon X1300 graphics card, and in theory should be more than capable of running Vista, and indeed it was, but with only half a gigabyte of RAM it was quite slow on starting up and didn't feel very responsive. So we upgraded it to 2 GB of memory, and this made a huge difference to using Windows Vista. Now hopefully the kind of memory that you need for your notebook will be included in the documentation that came with it. Most notebooks use the standard kind of memory card, but the exact specifications do differ. If you can't find the documentation, then we recommend taking a look at www.crucial.com/UK, as they've got a particularly good wizard for telling you what memory you need for your computer. As long as you know the manufacturer and the model number, it will tell you what you need. So let's make a start. Now the first thing, as with making any changes to a computer, is to make sure that it's disconnected from the power. Obviously it's a notebook, so not only do we have to remove the power supply, but the battery as well. Now the battery on this notebook here is along the back, and there are two catches that hold it in place. One's locking and the other is just spring loaded. So flip the locking one across to the unlock symbol, hold the sprung one across as well, and pull the battery away from the notebook. Pop that on one side, as we won't need that for a little while. Now most notebooks will describe on the back where the various parts are. Sometimes, like this notebook, you've got one large panel and descriptions on here for the, say, the CPU and the memory. Other notebooks you might find there are smaller panels. Dell tends to label their panels with letters, so you may need to refer back to the manual to find which panel you need to remove. To remove it, all you need is a standard Phillips screwdriver, although the tip will need to be quite small as the screws are quite fine. We've removed most of the screws round from here with just one remaining. So carefully unscrew it, keep the screw on one side, and then lift the panel open. On the inside here you can see the main parts of the notebook. We've got the processor, its fan, the wireless card and the memory. Now the memory is held in place with these two catches here. Simple to remove, just pull them away from the memory cards and the memory card flips up. Pull it out, keeping the same angle, put it on one side. Now if you watched our video on building your own PC, you may remember that we put the memory in pairs, and notebooks are exactly the same to give the best performance. Sadly this means that you won't be able to use your old memory alongside the new memory, but you could maybe sell it on eBay to offset the cost. Now we've got our new memory here, and it's supplied in two separate anti-static bags. Carefully remove the first stick of RAM, and we position it using this lug here. You can see that, like the desktop memory chips, it's split into two halves, and there's one that's much shorter than the other, and there's a corresponding lug on the memory connector here. Now always fit the bottom one first, because you won't be able to access it afterwards. Just slot it in levelly, and then when all the connectors are down, push it down, and there'll be a small click as it locks into place. So repeat with the next stick of RAM, and that's both sticks fitted and ready to go. So all that remains is to replace the cover on the notebook and then the battery. Now you'll be pleased to hear that you don't actually need to install any software or change any settings in Windows to take advantage of the new memory. Windows will automatically use the new memory and adjust any settings to match. Now, as we said, we found a real difference in using the notebook. It started up faster and it was more responsive. In terms of the hard figures, before with half a gigabyte of memory it stored 3176 in PC Mark, and afterwards it stored 3460. Now that's a performance increase of about 8%. It might not sound like very much, but it did make a real difference. If you want to find the full text of this workshop, you can do so using the link below. This has been Tim Smith for Computer Active TV.